Do you know what happens in the city of Cheney, Washington? Neither do I, but this is where Eastern Washington University is located, and where from the years 2012 to 2014, this campus saw one of the most electrifying college offenses in FCS history, where it was all thanks to the starting quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr. So today, I want to tell you viewers the story of how one quarterback went from lighting up the FCS to taking his shot on one of college football's biggest teams. To start this story, we head to Mission Hills, California at Bishop Alemany High School. Adams Jr. and senior seasons in high school saw him put up a combined 5,200 passing yards and 49 touchdowns, while rushing for 1,200 yards with 19 touchdowns. He was even voted the league's most valuable player his senior season, as well as leading his team to a league title that year. But despite the stats and success, Adams was still a zero-star recruit coming out of high school, where initially he committed to play at Portland State, then decommitted a month later and signed to Eastern Washington in the summer of 2011. This was just the beginning of the exciting career of Vernon Adams Jr. Coming into Eastern Washington in 2011, Adams was redshirted his freshman season. But even if he didn't redshirt, no way he was playing because another FCS legend, Bo Levi Wallace, was slinging it that season. But back to Adams. So yeah, 2011 was a developmental season, and he used that to his advantage. Now, Adams wasn't named full-time starter right away, as he would spend most of the 2012 season splitting time at QB, starting in 9 of 14 games, but finishing as the top passing QB in just 6 of those games. Despite splitting time, he finished the year with 1,961 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, and a 160.6 pass efficiency rating, which was the 4th best mark in FCS that season. Adams did help lead the Eagles to the FCS playoff semifinals. However, in the Eagles' playoff loss to Sam Houston State, Adams didn't start and came off the bench in the second half. He completed 14 of 26 passes for 364 yards and a school record 6 touchdowns, nearly rallying the Eagles from a 35-0 halftime deficit, but the game ended in a 45-42 loss. This redshirt freshman season got him named on the ballot for the Jerry Rice Award, given to the top freshman in FCS, which he finished 6th place. So a pretty successful year despite not being a full-time starter, but now that the quarterback he was splitting time with left after the 2012 season, this is where Vernon Adams exploded. The 2013 season started off with a bang, where now full-time starter Adams in Eastern Washington defeated a 25-ranked Oregon State team in Corvallis by a score of 49-46, where Vernon had 518 total yards with 6 total touchdowns. Adams and the team would keep on the gas all season for a regular season record of 10-2, with the offense scoring 40.4 points per game. Adams himself eclipsed 4,000 passing yards in these 12 games, setting him up for a historical pace as well as setting up the team with a 3 seed in the FCS playoffs. In the second round and quarterfinal games that Eastern Washington won, Adams threw for a combined 541 yards and 7 touchdowns to lead the team to another semifinals appearance against 7 seed Towson. Adams put up another valiant effort, throwing for 394 yards with 2 touchdowns, adding 65 rushing yards. But one crucial throw of his costed the Eagles a national championship spot. It was 4th and 2 on Towson's 29-yard line, score 31-28 in favor of Eastern Washington. Adams and the team had the ball, and on a pass play, he had a wide-open freshman phenom Cooper Kupp for a touchdown, but Adams overthrew him. Towson then marched down the field for the game-winning touchdown. A tough way to end the season for him and the team. He finished the 2013 season with stats of 4,994 passing yards, 55 passing touchdowns, along with 605 rushing yards with 4 scores on the ground. Those passing yards and touchdowns were both school and Big Sky records, with passing yards being a then 3rd all-time in FCS, and passing touchdowns a then 3rd all-time in FCS as well. Adams even finished the 2013 season ranked number 1 in passing efficiency at 181.3, which set school and Big Sky records. These stats earned him a second-team All-American pick by the Associated Press, being first-team All-Big Sky, and he won the Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year. Yet, he was robbed of the biggest award in FCS in my opinion. The Walter Payton Award is the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy on the FCS level. With the previously mentioned stats of Adams, he still came in second for this award, losing to Jimmy Garoppolo of Eastern Illinois, and by the looks at stats and team success, I say Adams was easily robbed. Heading into his junior season, he and these Eagles were looking dangerous. Adams was named to the Walter Payton watch list, as well as being the preseason first-team All-American list, where the team started the season 5-1. Their only loss in that span was a 7-point defeat to FBS Washington, where Adams threw for 475 yards in the loss, second most yards in the game in school history. The offense put up a crazy 49 points per game in those games, where Adams averaged 360 passing yards a game, throwing 24 touchdowns in those 6 games. He was poised to lead Eastern Washington to a national championship and win that coveted Walter Payton Award. However, in that 6th game of the season versus Idaho State, Adams suffered 2 broken bones in his foot, which caused him to miss 4 games. The team were able to go 3-1 without Adams, but when he returned from injury, he proved why he was still a top player. In the final 2 regular season games, he passed for 410 yards and 4 touchdowns in his return against Montana, then 348 yards of total offense and 3 scores in EWU's win over Portland State. This led to a final team record of 10-2 and being the 4th seed in the FCS playoffs. Rematch against Montana in the second round saw Adams score 3 total touchdowns for the team in a 37-20 victory. But this year in the quarterfinals is where Eastern Washington's season ended. A 46-59 loss to Illinois State. Adams finished his season with 425 yards on 25 of 44 passing, with 3 touchdowns, adding another rushing touchdown too, bringing his total stats on the season to 3,483 yards passing and 35 touchdowns in 10 games played, completing 66% of his passes. Even though he did miss 4 games, his 35 passing touchdowns were still ranked 2nd in FCS. Then awards his junior season included being named the Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year and First Team All-Big Sky. He was also named First Team All-American by the Associated Press this year. Then the moment the whole university was waiting on though, the Walter Payton Award ceremony. Adams was again a finalist for the award, but sadly, he was the runner-up for the 2nd straight year, losing to John Robertson of Villanova. Even if Adams played just 1 more game, he would have won the award in my opinion. Nevertheless, another successful season for him and the team. Now 2015, this brought a little bit of a shakeup to Cheney, Washington, because on February 9th, 2015, Adams announced his plans to accept a scholarship to Oregon and transfer for his senior season, choosing to play for the Ducks over remaining at Eastern Washington. With his time over at EWU, Adams ranked 2nd in career passing yards at 10,483, 1st in passing touchdowns at 110, and most wins for his starting QB with 28. To do this in basically 2 seasons is just nuts. But a new chapter was ready to be written in Eugene, Oregon. After just 2 weeks on campus, Adams was named the starting quarterback in August, and he was looked at to lead 7th-ranked Oregon to championship expectations. And funny enough, his first game in Ducks uniform was against his former team, Eastern Washington, where it was an easy 61-42 Ducks win with Adams having 340 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Game 2 was another missed opportunity of greatness for Adams. On the road against 5th-ranked Michigan State, the score 31-28 in favor of MSU, where with a minute 30 left, Oregon had a chance to take the lead. But just like the chance to make the national championship at Eastern Washington, Adams overthrew his receiver for a touchdown, and Oregon ended up losing 28-31. Game 3 was an easy victory over Georgia State, but where Adams was out due to an injury. Then when he returned to Game 4, it saw a low point in his career. In a blowout loss to ranked Utah, Adams was benched for his bad first-half performance. Games 5 and 6 saw Adams be out again with injury, where the team went 1-1. But the second half of Oregon's season though, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Sitting at a record of 3-3, Adams would help lead the team to 6 straight wins, where he had stats of 1,800 passing yards, completing 66% of his passes, and 21 touchdowns. Leading to an Alamo Bowl matchup versus TCU, Adams had 197 yards and a touchdown through the second quarter. Then he got injured again, leaving for the rest of the game. And where TCU had one of the biggest bowl comebacks of all time after being down 31-0 at halftime, where the Frogs won 47-41. At the end of his lone season with Oregon, his total stats weren't too flashy, except that he led the nation in passing efficiency once again at 179.1. As for the next level of his football career, Adams went undrafted to the NFL, but got to attend rookie camp tryouts with the Seahawks and Commanders, but didn't get signed. Then he headed up north to Canada, where he has become a steady veteran in the CFL. Playing for 4 different teams over 10 seasons, he racked up 20,400 passing yards and 117 touchdowns. Coming back to Calgary for the 2026 season, 33-year-old Adams looks to keep a consistent place in the league. Vernon Adams Jr. put up historic numbers, electrified offenses, and proved he could compete at any level. But between injuries, timing, and playing outside the spotlight, his story faded from the mainstream. Still, for those who watched, he wasn't just great, he was unforgettable. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and hitting the bell notifications. Thank you.